Hello viewers, wherever you're watching us from, welcome to another edition of your weekly State of Affairs program here on QTV. I'm your host, Aliou Cissé. I'm joined in the studio by my co-host, Sidi.
Thank you very much, Aliou.
Also in the studio is Lamin Bojang, the Secretary General and Party Leader of the Alliance for National Orientation and Development Party. Mr. Bojang, welcome to the State of Affairs program.
Thank you for having me, Mr.
Both
Aliou and Cissé.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bojang. On 27th of April this year, the IEC confirmed the acceptance of your party, to be registered after it has found that you've met all the requirements to form your own political party. But before then, you were a leader at another different party, the Gambia Action Party. Could you just take us through the difference between being identified to lead a party and forming your own political party?
The difference is just huge. Thank you very much for that brilliant question. Like you said, I was a leader of a political party. My decision to go into politics is based on certain principles. And that principles include that I want to join Gambians who are there to move this country forward. And when I was approached by that particular group, I felt that it is a group that, the small things that I have in terms of idea will fit in that particular, area. But along the line, it wasn't how I expected. I had no regrets though. So it was a political party that I wasn't there at the inception when the idea was conceived. But along the line, I played very instrumental role, very, very pivotal role in terms of registering the party. Once it was registered, and I become an active member, a very, very active member for that matter, and hence my nomination as the flag bearer of the party. Along the line, we had to part simply because the principles weren't the same. Even before, I've been alleged to have been the person who was in the nude. Arrangements were made, were in the pipeline for us to depart camps because our desire to move these countries were different. These were two incompatible, characters. And as a result, we decided that the best thing will be to form our own party. But that did not just come all of a sudden. It came after a press briefing that I left that particular group. And to form a political party, the difference is that it is your own. That sense of ownership is there. And when the idea was conceived that we have to form our own, it was not an individual thing. It was the people who were around me who decided that, yes, now that we have left that particular group or that group, why not we continue? Because we were there with you. It was you that we were following, even though things did not work out. So I think the best thing will be for us to form our own. And then, like I said, that sense of ownership, the sense of belonging, the trust issue, that is what is the major difference. I was invited, even though I played important roles, but this time around is our own, which is the most important difference as far as your question is concerned.
Well, we know at the time you were serving in the foreign service in Russia, and then you were recalled to lead this party. I mean, why would in any way should you leave that appointment just to come back to lead a political party? You see,
I was into geopolitics. Like my background, I am a retired general, and as such, I had never been known as far as politics in this country is concerned. But does that mean that I cannot be a politician? No. So when I was into the foreign service, you will know that is geopolitics. And geopolitics, you will also understand that I was not actively involved in politics to take a government, but also I was involved directly in applying politics in my day-to-day activities, in my day-to-day execution of my responsibilities as a diplomat. So at that point, we all knew that there was a change in the country. And that change has created vacuum, especially at the top, and in terms of management of the country. There's a leadership vacuum, and we felt that at that time, people need to make sacrifices, and that sacrifices mean that not all of us must cling to the good and the enjoyable things that we used to know. There are sacrifices that we have to make to be able to fill those gaps. And that is why it was very easy for me to resign from that position. That was one of the, as far as our civil servants are concerned, it's one of the most lucrative positions. So the reason why I left that position is just to make sure that I joined Gambians to fill that leadership vacuum, because there is need for us to move this country forward. And 5 years down the line, or at that time, 2 years down the line, we have not seen any, meaningful progress as far as that movement, or that development is concerned. So that is why when I was approached, it was very easy for me to take that decision that let me just quit this and join Gambians, regardless of what is going to come our way.
Sidi, you want to comment?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sise Ali. Thanks, and Mr. Bojang. Quickly, you said you have now taken ownership and you have left the former group. You clearly said you were appointed, approached, and you take that leadership. That is clear. But would one say it's because of the saga that you left that group, or that was just something coincident?
A lot of things culminated to my departure from that camp.
Yeah.
Well before the saga, the atmosphere within the camp was so hostile that some of us felt that we are at the wrong place. My reason to join politics is what we are preaching today: decency, decorum, sanity. That is what we want to bring in. And when I join any group and I do not feel comfortable with regards to these things that I have mentioned, I feel uncomfortable. And at one point, before the saga, we felt that we are at the wrong place. And there is a need for us to...
So one would say, like you said, things weren't going right until when the scandal happened, that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, when this, I think, yes, you rightly put it. But the environment was so hostile that we even anticipated something. Maybe I could be poisoned. Maybe they could do certain things to me that could,
But these are people who genuinely approached you out of 1 million Gambians and said, General Bojang, come and lead this party. So what have turned to the bad blood? What brought the bad blood between that group?
See, I thought we've buried this hatchet and then we've moved forward. And then if you want me to enumerate, point by point, that is going to dig old wounds. And I definitely do not want to go that way. All that I knew is that the environment was not conducive. And as a result, it led us to a situation. It led us to a saga. And that was something that we can even say that we smell it.
But we need to understand what had happened for us to move forward. Since you have, you wanted to be the president of the Gambia.
Yes.
This is where General was.
Yes.
This is where Mr. Bojang was.
Right.
And this is what actually happened, and that's where you are now. So we need to take stock of what had happened between you and that setup.
Right.
Because we don't want tomorrow, you are part company with this group and then to another group.
Exactly.
In fact, we need to understand.
That could even be one of the reasons why, when I was invited by other political parties to join them, I declined those offers because I do not want to be seen as an opportunist. I did not join politics because I want to be known, be seen, or make money for myself. I had, abandoned those opportunities. I want to join Gambians, meaningful Gambians, who love this country and love the people, and have the ambition that they want to move this country forward. That was my objective. And that is my objective until that day that we are going to take the State House. So what happened was that, did I do the background check of the people that I was joining? That was the biggest mistake I think I had made, which I admitted. If I had made some inquiries, to know exactly the group that I'm joining, perhaps that would have given me maybe a kind of a sense of caution. But because of the fact that I trusted the people who approached me, and I did not hesitate at all to join them. So the genesis of what had happened, if we want to narrate that one here, it is going to sway. I want to tell Gambians what ANRD is going to do for Gambian people. And I don't want to dwell on the past. I know.
We are coming to that.
I know.
Exactly. Now my question is, as we speak, we have around 18 political parties. I mean, how realistic are you and your party that you are any different from other political parties such as the NPP, the UDP? Like, what can you bring to the table that you believe they can't?
Isn't that simple to answer? Is it not now true that the person that should lead this country should have a military background? Isn't it not clear today that somebody, what is the current situation in this country in terms of leadership? If you look at closely, the political landscape in this country is marred with a lot of issues, and one detrimental thing that we are dealing with, we are just shy away from discussing it, is this issue of tribal politicking. The tribal politicking is now engulfing that beautiful Gambianism, that beautiful Gambian culture. As a result, ANR, the Alliance for National Reorientation and Development, we want to bring sanity into the whole thing. We want to bring decorum. We want to bring that understanding that, look, the difference that I have with you as far as our political views are concerned does not make us enemies. And the young people, we are talking to the young people, for them to understand that for us to be able to take the destiny of our country, we do not have to follow what has been there. Let us create our own. And that is what ANRD is trying to do right now. We're trying to lead the young people. We're trying to lead those Gambians who are, patriotic, who are nationalist, those Gambians who are yearning for development, those Gambians who want to see leaders leading from front, not those ceremonials, not those self-centered people. So as a result, ANRD is different from a lot of other political parties in this country simply because of the programs that we have and the type of leadership that we want to manifest in this country. Because right now what we have is that we realize that there is a vacuum, and that leadership vacuum needs to be filled. But who needs to fill that leadership vacuum? The reason why I say that is it not clear that it is a retired, a military person who's supposed to. Look at the security in this country today. And until today, we are still struggling, as if we do not have highly skilled, highly landed people in this country to understand that whatever measure that they want to take today, like the current, policy that they want to institute, is only going to compound our issues. Is only going to give us more problems as far as security in this country is concerned. I know better. ANRD, we know better. There's a way we can do to
when did you
police
realize
our country
that there's this leadership vacuum? Was it after you were recalled from Russia? Or
I was never recalled from Russia.
No, but you left there and came back.
Yeah, I resigned. Yeah, I resigned from my duty. I was in the system.
The same system that you are saying now.
No, go a little bit back. Go a little bit back. I was in Saudi Arabia as a consul general, and I was recalled because they said I am a Jola. Okay. That is one. Two, I was, being
Who
pointed.
said that?
There are political leaders who say that they want to score themselves. There are political leaders who say that. When I was recalled, Hussein Dabo was then he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Hussein was the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Did he say that?
He was the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
But did he say it?
Did
he say that?
He was the Minister at the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Did he say that?
At the time,
Mr. Bojan, did he say that? Mr. Bojan, did he say that?
The belief.
Did Ba Hussein Dabo say that?
Let me put it this way. Will I learn?
Yes.
At the time that this assassination was made, Hussein was the leader. You see, my recall was a little bit controversial when I was in Saudi Arabia. Okay, let me make this thing clear. My recall from Saudi Arabia was a little bit controversial. I was recalled, according to the Foreign Service regulations of the Gambia, the Consul General and the ambassadors are appointed by the President. Okay, and it is the President who appointed this category, these two officers. Now, when I was recalled, the decision was rescinded, but then the minister, who was Usainu at the time, decided that no, the decision was already made and I have to come.
What decision did Usainu make?
The decision that the cancellation of my recall should stand.
Okay.
Am I making sense here?
But,
I was recalled.
He said because you were
you were recalled.
I was recalled, yes.
From the office of the President.
I was recalled from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
I was recalled from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
And then what happened then?
At some point, they knew that wasn't the right way to do it.
Okay.
My recall should come from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, yes. But then, if you are to appoint somebody in my position, that should come from the office of the President. The office of the President did not put any appointment at the time. And when that was brought to the notice of the Secretary General at the time, they declined my recall. And the foreign ministry countered that
the
recall.
The Secretary General declined your recall that you should continue your service.
Exactly.
And then a letter came from the foreign ministry to saying they stick by the decision that you must come back.
Exactly.
Was it from there that you understood from Ousainou Darboe that you are a Jola, so you must come back? Let's be clear here.
Yeah, you see, these are assumptions that were made in several quarters. You know, because they did not know me at the time. I'm Bojang, and because of Bojang, I was mistaken to be a Jola. You know,
mistaken to be a Jola?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is a retired general.
I want us to move on. We have a lot to talk about.
Exactly. If you want us, you know,
a lot to talk about.
I said this thing here. Yes. I said this thing here with during one of my interviews, and it went this way. You know, we went forward and back. But I'm telling you something. That
can we just have it on record that it was Ousainou Darboe who taught you were a Jola for you to recall?
See, let me put this thing. I am a diplomat. And I'm making my points very clear for people to digest, the listener and the viewer. And the way it is been said, I will not come here in camera to say something that is there just to score the political point.
We are not dealing with diplomacy here. This is domestic politics.
You are dealing, politics.
These are your opponents in the political arena. So whatever you have on them, you must tell us.
Sidi, it's not out of fear. It's not out of
anything. Let's get the answer
I just want to. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. When I was recalled, these were some of the assumptions that were made about me. That is what even quickened my recall. This was what was the main reason that I was recalled. And that
it was never on record. It was an assumption that you are a Jola.
This was said. It was said. People came to me. There are a lot of people who even came to me. They confronted me. I sat with a gentleman. I will name you my younger brother's name. Serif. He came, we went to my uncle because people sympathized with me. People felt that, no, you should not be recalled with all these things that you've been doing. So we went to see my uncle, two of us with my uncle. When he introduced his guest to me.
Who is this Serif?
Serif Bojang.
Oh, the president of the GPU?
No. I just want to make this point.
Can you just finish and let's move on because we have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Yes, when you were recalled, I mean, you joined the GAP, and then you fall apart with them. Your political judgment seems to be questioned, Mr. Bojang.
My political...
No, I think, just Aliou, he was not recalled to join a political party. You were recalled and later reinstated.
Yes, exactly. I was never recalled to join politics.
Okay. No, what I mean, you were recalled because in this case we can say maybe GAP recalled you because you resigned from that diplomatic mission and came back to lead a political party. Yes, that's what I mean here. That mean you were recalled by the government. I know you resigned.
So what happened was that I was appointed by this political party to lead them, and because I was serving the government at the time, I had to resign. I resigned, and that was constitutional. I resigned from that place because what happened was if I was sacked, there was no way that I would be able to serve as the flag bearer of a political party. So because of that, I don't want there to be a conflict of interest, and that is why I resigned from that position.
What did you know about this party before you joining them?
Sorry?
What did you know about GAP before you left to join the party?
Yeah, what happened was that... Hello, you are taking me back again.
Yes, we just want to know.
Exactly. Yes. What happened was that I remember, vividly that there was this moment that I came here on holidays, and while I was here, a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, came with some members of GAP to my house, and their reason to visit me was just to come and advise them because they want to establish a political party. So when they came during that interaction, I think I impressed them for whatever reason, and it was after that I was told that, in fact, this particular political party hasn't any flag bearer or any leader at the time. So they later on decided that, it was they were going to look for somebody. But then along the line, I guess, our interaction reached a stage that they were impressed that I could lead the party. And, unceremoniously or unbeknown to me, this announcement was made when I left the Gambia. So it was something that came on the heels of consultation with them, but not based on the fact that I should be the flag bearer. What happened was the GAP was registered by me So I knew a lot in the party before, my appointment.
Okay, let's move on. Mr. Bojang, you talked about Gambia to be led by somebody with a military background and all that. For that reason, I don't know. But let's get into the serious issue here that you raised when you talk about security. We have a very, I would say, unfortunate situation in the camp as far as the security is concerned. It is becoming a reality that nobody feels safe any longer, either at home or in the street. We have seen the redeployment or the deployment of the National Guards in our street. In my opinion, before I put this question, I don't think that is a solution to the problems here. I've seen a police force in this country that their primary role is law and order. As a leader of a political party, what will you do to transform the Gambia police force to be a unit or an institution that is going to stand to the test of the 21st century? Resource them, build a capacity, then getting men with guns in our street. Because basically what we are saying is like we will say a red code of terrorism in our country when you see armed guards in our streets.
The current status quo is only compounding our problems. The steps that they want to take by bringing Republican National Guards with arms into the streets is only going to aggravate our situation. Have you reached that stage? No. It is just simple arithmetic. Alliance for National Reorientation, out of our manifesto, we have about 18 agenda. But on that, we have shrunk the activities, and then we concentrate on 5. Among these 5 is security. How do we want to take care of security in this country? It's very, very simple. Like you put it, there is an institution that is responsible for law and maintenance of law and order in this country, and that is the policemen and women. Now, what is wrong with the policemen and women in this country? They can do the job. The capacity is there if the resources are given. So what we're doing and what we are saying at ANRD is that the police must be given the wherewithal for them to be able to police.
The capacity must be there. Just to make something very clear, what I raise is not my opinion.
No,
it's a question.
But because you take words from my mouth, because this is what I want to say. You could have asked the question all the way around, so that the listener or the viewer will say that, okay, CD asked this thing, and it doesn't come from me. But you say it, and I'm going to reiterate the points. Yeah. The point is that the security in this country is definitely serious. It is serious simply because the actors, the people who are supposed to maintain security in this country have been sidelined. They've been sidelined, and because they've been sidelined, the security men, the government sidelined them. The government of Adama Barrow sidelined our security men and women in uniform. They were sidelined.
These are serious statements.
You have to give me the whole time to be able to answer this. Okay. You see, CD, when the change of government occurred from Yaya Jammeh to Adama Barrow, how many of us in the Gambia knew that Yaya Jammeh was supposed to stay in office for 1 month before he transferred power to the next government? Very few Gambians knew that. Very few Gambians knew that. The majority of Gambians, what we knew was that, what we thought, our assumption was that the following day, Adama Barrow was supposed to take government. He was supposed to, Yaya was supposed to go, and Adama comes in. Yeah. So during that period, a lot of things happened. Yaya will go, Yaya will not go. And at that time, the only fallback position were on our security men and women in uniform. They were like, okay, Yaya is saying that he's not going. Yaya said that he's not going to accept the election. Now, the government people, their fallback position at that time was the security men and women. We thought that they have to go there and eject Yaya out from that place. When that did not happen, and it did not happen simply because the Constitution has allowed the outgoing president to stay in office for a number of time, for a period, before he hands over to the incoming president. But most Gambians did not understand this. The men and women in uniform knew very well that on the 18th of January, Yaya Jammeh must go or something else was going to happen in this country. But not most Gambians had that patience. Not most Gambians had that perseverance. All that they wanted was, okay, you were defeated during election, so you have to go the next day. So that had created serious problem in this country.
Okay, we just want to know the relevance of that.
What is the relation between that and the current situation?
Exactly. What happened was that, what happened at that time was that, I wish you were there when the members of the security personnel at State Guard were leaving the State House that night or that evening to other places. They were wooed at. The people were just shouting at them that they failed the Gambians, that they did not do what they were supposed to do, that they were soldiers of the Yaya. They were not there for the Gambian people. That was the issue, that this new government, when they were coming in, this new dispensation, when they were coming in, they felt that, okay, the Gambian people, at one point, believed that you were the people who were supposed to rescue us from those difficulties. But because you did not do that, we had no trust for you. So when they came, they sidelined our own security. You see, the ECOWAS Senegalese soldiers that are here in this country, if we had listened to TRRC, I'm going to piece this together for you to understand why I'm bringing all these things, okay? When they bring in the ECOMIG or the Senegalese soldier to come and police our country, at that time we have our men and women in uniform in the country. What was lacking at the time was that we are all, including the men and women in uniform, we were all going to experience something that was going to happen for the first time in the history of this country. And that is to move from democratically elected government to another democratic elected government. As you were adjusting yourself, the men and women were also supposed to be adjusting themselves to know and understand their responsibilities in a democratic dispensation. Because we felt that maybe during Yaya's time at one point, that was what was lacked. Now, that did not happen. Nobody cared about the roles and responsibilities of the men and women in uniform. All that we realized was that, okay, Yaya said he's not going. Okay, now we have ECOMIG here. Now we signed a defense pact with Senegal. And Senegal is now policing Senegal from the Gambia.
Let's fast track this.
Okay, and then now what happened was that, when that happened, there was no trust for our men and women in uniform. And they were sidelined. So the security of the country lies in the hands of foreigners.
Are you saying,
and because
they've been sidelined,
exactly,
they lost the trust? That's why all these crimes are happening, because they hold on themselves.
And they lost very huge opportunities, the Gambia. Because when the new dispensation, when they established themselves, when they established their authority, one of the areas that they're supposed to concentrate on was making sure that they capacitize the security, they redesign their responsibilities as far as democratic dispensation is concerned, equip them and give them certain responsibilities. And this was not done. Because that was not done, 5 years down the line, we had this huge insecurity in this country. Let me tell you something. This is a secret. You see, Senegal has been trying all this while to police Senegal from the Gambia. This has been on for the past 20-something years. Since time immemorial.
Is that Jammeh brainwash?
Sorry?
Is that Jammeh brainwash? Is Jammeh that who thinks like that? What? Senegal has been trying to police Gambia from Senegal.
No, from the Gambia.
From the Gambia.
From the Gambia.
Okay.
This is not Jammeh.
In whose interest? Why would Senegal, have that intention to police the Gambia?
No, you don't understand. Senegal wants to police Senegal from the Gambia. You understand what I'm trying to say? And that is why we have this deployment in Casamas, in Foni, in the Gambia. Okay? This has been efforts that have been there for a very long time. And that was aggravated by the hot pursuit defense pact that we signed between Gambia and Senegal.
Why do you say the hot pursuit? Who was pursuing it?
The hot pursuit?
Yeah, who was pursuing this defense agreement?
Talking about agreement.
No, the agreement I'm
saying. Yeah, you mean a hot pursuit. Who was pursuing it?
That is what is even aggravated.
Yeah.
That is what aggravated the situation between the Gambia and Senegal. Because that hot pursuit.
To what?
The hot pursuit policy.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Who was pursuing that? Whose interest?
It's Senegalese interest.
Okay.
Of course, it's Senegalese interest. It's the government of Senegal's interest. You see, let's just give me a little time. Let me finish this. You see, as a result of that, our men and women who are supposed to be given the capacity, we
will just go with a short break, and when we come back, we continue with it.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, you remind that you're watching State of Affairs program here on QTV. I'm your host, Aliou Cissé, with my co-host, Sidi Cissé, and our guest tonight is Mr. Lamin Satu Bojang, the leader of the Alliance for National Orientation and Development, ANRD. We'll go with a short commercial break, and when we return, the discussion continues. Hello viewers, welcome back from that short commercial break. You reminded once again you're watching State of Affairs here on QTV, broadcasting from behind QCell along Kairaba Avenue. I'm your host, Aliou Cisse, with my co-host, Sidi Cisse, and our guest tonight is Lamin Satu Bojang. Yes, Mr. Bojang, before we go on the break, you were talking about this hot pursuit.
Yeah, the hot pursuit, these are policies that can aggravate relationship between Gambia and Senegal. Senegalese are angry towards Gambians. Gambians are angry towards Senegalese. Meanwhile, the two are completely innocent. It is because the governments have instituted a policy that is only going to bruise our relationship. And this is something that's not supposed to happen. Senegal and Gambia, our relationship should be better than this. It should be better than this. You know, the hot pursuit agreement had created a lot of problems in the maybe the urban areas here. We do not feel the problems. But if you're in the provincial areas, you do encounter these panic situations. Most times that Senegalese are pursuing, those would be criminals in the area. That's not supposed to happen. Our relationship is supposed to be better than that. The hot pursuit.
But one would say this is normal because Senegal and Gambia are neighbors.
It is not normal. You don't.
Gambia and Senegal are neighbors. One would say this is normal.
Since independence,
yes,
to date,
yes,
Senegal-Gambia relationship,
yeah,
has been like co-wife relationship. It's back and forth. Jawara was there, back and forth. Jammeh comes, back and forth. I would consider that this has been going on.
What has been going on?
I mean, this Senegal, Gambia, they are neighbors. They have interests. Senegal have interests, Gambia have interests.
Yes.
So it's a question about who gets, get into the stake.
But who does what is the current status quo? Who does what is the current?
No, I don't think it's right for anyone to sit here and say, okay, Senegal was hot pursuing their interest when Gambia is a sovereign republic, Senegal is a sovereign republic.
No, but do you really get my point? Do you really get my point? The defense pact that I am specifically referring to, this is a defense pact between Gambia and Senegal.
How did Gambia become the weaker link?
No. That defense pact is about, for instance, if a criminal activity occurs in Senegal and the criminal deserts to the Gambia, Senegal can pursue the particular criminal.
Can we pursue our criminals in Senegal?
No, that is what you can ask anybody and see if it is going the other way around.
No, but what I'm saying, in the agreement, in the agreement,
yes,
in that defense agreement,
yes,
you are saying Senegal can pursue their criminals in Gambia.
Yes.
Can we pursue our criminals in Senegal?
This was the defense pact. This was the agreement. And this was the agreement that is wrong between two countries that are neighbors, two countries that as you described, who are, brother and sister.
Can we get our criminals from Senegal? Can we get them?
That is the pact.
Okay, so it's done fairly.
But no, that is not done fairly,
Mr. Bojang.
It's done fairly. If my kid goes into your house, I can go for him.
No.
And if your kid comes to my house, you can come for him.
No. But the arrangements of that kind of defense pact between two countries that are located like we are.
General Bojang, we have the EU treaty.
Yes.
Criminals can be pursued from Brussels to France.
Okay.
France to Brussels.
And France,
London to
and the culture between France and Brussels.
It's not about culture.
It is about that. Why do you refer to the Gambia and Senegal as being brothers and sisters? Why do you refer Senegal and the Gambia as being neighbors? Why do you refer us like that?
No. When the serious integration is done.
This is a unique situation. Our geographical location here between Gambia and Senegal, our relationship has to be sweeter and better than this current status quo. And that is what we are pursuing.
I'll come there now. It seems you don't agree with this defense pact.
At all.
Now, moving forward, what will your party do if you come into power to better this relationship, to ensure that Gambia's interest is really not compromised?
You see, what we will do is that we want to make sure that Gambia, we look at the border between Gambia and Senegal, and in the nature of crossings is something that is pathetic for now. Senegal and the Gambia, they have been staying together for a very long time, and then we have demarcated our borders, and then we have been referring to ourselves as brothers and sisters. If that is the reality, let us implement it now. Let us implement that brotherlyhood, relationship. Has that been there? No. What we need to do is to make sure that, why do we close the border between Gambia and Senegal? If we are truly brothers and sisters.
It had never happened in this government. That was Yahya Jammeh who closed it.
No. What I mean is, why do we close? Why do we, at certain point of the night, you cannot cross to Senegal?
We are two different countries.
No, but see,
But Lamin, you have to understand one thing. Gambia is surrounded by Senegal on all three sides.
All three sides, yes. So
but that does not necessarily mean Senegal has an upper hand in us or Gambia has an upper hand in them.
No, it has. It depends on the defense part.
Mr. Bojan is answering my question. My question now is going forward. I think we need to go forward.
Yeah.
We're running out of time.
Yes.
What will your government do?
Is to better our relationship between Gambia and Senegal.
How?
It is to better our. That's what I've been enumerating, and then you
exactly. Yeah. Just go ahead.
Yeah. That is what I'm saying is that the defense pact is not supposed to be there. ANRD, we want to make sure that the relationship between Gambia and Senegal is better, and we want to make sure that there are certain arrangements that we see happening in between Gambia and Senegal. Before, when you are sick, you can go to Senegal very easily, and you can reach Dakar very fast, even without the use of aircraft. But today,
when was this? You said before. When was this?
Before the proliferation of these cars everywhere, before the unbearable number of cars everywhere. The traffic wasn't like this. If you have a sick person,
like what period? You know, for people like me, I belong to the younger generation. So
if you want to move, maybe have you ever traveled on road
in the 60s, 70s?
No. I mean, yeah, in the early 90s, as far as early as
development comes with a lot of things.
That is why that is a constraint now, because that is a constraint. We want to make sure that between these two countries, our relationship factors all these constraints to make sure that it is better for the interest of both countries.
Okay.
And that is true. The defense pact that we're talking about, we want to make sure that we help Senegal to be able to police, because most of the time, the thing that they are fighting, as far as their deployment in Foni is concerned, is mainly because of drugs, that is cannabis, and this, logging. But the thing is, this is a sovereign state too. If you have people in this country whose policing modalities and policies are completely different from us, it only brings in conflict. And I'm sure you are all aware that recently...
I think my host will agree with me. We don't want Senegal to dominate this program. Let's move forward. Let's talk about what would you do as far as agriculture is concerned in this country. For over 50 years, we have a Gambia that 90% of our food is imported in this country.
You asked me quick, so let me answer it. Don't answer it for me. Before you say that is...
Yeah, it's his opinion.
Exactly, that's your opinion.
But I want to give you facts.
No, let me tell you something.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Okay. ANRD, we have, like I said, on our agenda about 18, and 5 are agriculture. The 5 that we concentrate, and we want to concentrate on the 5 for easy consumption and understanding of the people that we are selling this agenda to. And the 5 are agriculture, fisheries, education, health, and security. These are the 5. Now, why agriculture? We believe that if you are able to fulfill all these 5 and you're able to make your people to have these 5, how can you have these 5, vibrant if you don't have sufficient electricity? If you don't have affordable electricity? And that is why we are saying, for us to be able to concentrate on these 5, we have to make sure that we have affordable and constant supply of electricity in this country. How do we do that? We know very well that from statistics, fossil fuel is something that is what we are using today. That is the natural crude oil, gas. That is what we are using today for the supply of electricity in this country. But is that sustainable? No. In 2030, fossil fuel production for electricity is going to reduce to about 60%. So now, we in this region, we have alternatives. We have substitute. And because of climate change, we have to resort to renewable energy. And the renewable energy, the substitute is a wind turbine and solar energy. And I brought in investors here from Sweden. At one point, we are supposed to supply 100 megawatts at an affordable giveaway cost. But then government frowned us. And then we want to do it, build, operate, and transfer. But then they did not give us the opportunity to go ahead. So what ANRD is saying is that because we are in the third world country, as we are classified, we are a poor country, as we are classified, we say that the backbone of this country is agriculture. How do we manage? How do we give agriculture the necessary attention that it deserves to be able to fight corruption, to be able to fight unemployment, to be able to also service the $30 billion in debt that we have, but also be able to be able to provide jobs for our young people. Annually, the number that graduate from the students that graduate from madrasas and conventional schools are increasing. And, in this country, we have realized that from the university, kudos to the political scientists, sociologists, and other people. But what we feel is the focus, and supposed to be the focus, is that we need more technical skills. We need more technical skills, and this is what is going to complement our effort in agriculture. Why agriculture? Because agriculture, this is the mainstay, the main backbone of our country. And this is what is going to move us from poverty. This is what is going to help us to be able to, because if I come to you, Sidi, I say, vote for me. If you vote for me, I'll reduce the bag of rice. Tell me you are lying. If you vote me in, I'll reduce the bag of cement. Tell me you are lying, because you're not producing cement, you're not producing rice, you're not producing oil, you're not producing all these things. GPMB is almost kaput, gone. If you look at the production of groundnut in this country today, it's not at the scale that we all desire that can move this country forward. So what we are saying is that we have to go mechanized agriculture. Mechanized agriculture is not a record science.
When
it's
you that needs money, Lamin, where are you going to get the money from?
Why do you asking money?
No, tell us.
Why do we ask money?
You have an economy that is, you say I shouldn't put words in your mouth, but you have an economy that is
okay, let me help you.
Okay.
Let me help you. You see, the thing is this, don't lose sight of the fact that, look, every country, including the richest countries in the world, have development partners. The problem we have in this country is misplaced priorities. We are misprioritizing our activities. Our problem is not good roads when our health sector is kaput. Our problem is not flying to go and lobby for money for us when our schools have no good amenities. The problem here is that we are misprioritizing, and as a result, agriculture. You remember they built a factory in Sanyang and in Gunjur. There is a fish mills there. These fish mills were built by who? By development partners, according to the government, by development partners. How did they come to that stage? Why did you allow a country where you have 60% of the population who are young people? Why did you arrange with your development partners to build in that country a fishing mill? Meanwhile, none of your young people are working in those factories. That is sad. It is very, very sad. And that is why where the money is going to come from is this. This country has two economic generating activities. One is re-export trade and the other one is agriculture. The tourism sector is almost kaput, but we are the one who are going to revive it, and we have the plan for that. And then the issue is that money is going to come from your development partners and from the government. The thing is, we have to fight corruption in this country. This magnitude, the scale at which corruption is happening here is milking out our resources monthly, annually, at an unbearable scale. And that is why the funds, I remember when I was in Saudi Arabia, there are development partners. Even IDB alone had at that time, set aside a huge amount of money. All that they needed at the time was a project proposal for them to be able to dispose. There are certain things that I knew about this country that is stuck in our development, and that is why ANRD is coming in to make sure that we fill in those gaps. So money is going to come from our development partner for the start. This is agriculture we're talking about. That is going to generate income for us. Staple, that is why we choose rice as our logo, because we believe that rice production in this country should not supposed to give us a rocket science. If you go to Jahal Pachar or you go to Sapo, these are places that we can produce right at a scale that we can even export the surplus. But sorry, it has not been happening because the willpower isn't there. You know what is the problem? Now, radically, imagine that the number of young boys and girls who are graduating from schools, you give, let's radically, you take 3,000 from there, 3,000 from those people. You give them skills, give them incentives, give them, countries have done this thing and they succeeded. Because the thing is this, we have to make sure that we start moving, giving direction, inspire our people, motivate them so that they become creative. And that can only come under a sound leadership. And that is what is missing in this country today. So what we are saying is that agriculture, it's not all about rice production. There are a lot of things that we can do, a lot of activities.
Okay, I think agriculture is clear. Mr. Sise,
you talk about something that is very pertinent, corruption. What will you do to address the issue of corruption?
You see, Mr. Sise, the issue here is this. You have to know the magnitude so that you can proffer solutions. And then I understand where the problems are. You see, our re-export trade, this is what is giving us.
Are you taking us back? We're talking about corruption.
Where is the problem? Where is the problem exactly?
I want to give you the problem. I want to tell you where the problem is.
Okay, go ahead.
To fight corruption in this country, technology is no more luxury. Our financial institutions, our financial transactions needs to be looked into. And that is why ANRD, we have even consulted some firms in Canada. You see, our financial transactions, physical cash transaction, is only breeding corruption in this country.
Are you suggesting e-commerce in our government setups?
You come from that's come from you. But what I want to tell you, what I want to tell you, no, what I want to tell you is that as a measure to be able to deter corruption from going up or going up, we want to make sure that we introduce technology in
that means you don't want somebody, you don't want me carrying a bag of money to go and pay, But
is that sufficient? Is that the only way?
What I'm saying is, are you suggesting an e-commerce where everything is going to be on electronic?
There is a system in place called IFMIS. Okay. IFMIS has connected all the ministries, all the departments, and it has been monitored from a particular vantage point. Now, what happened is that particular system is defaulted by the people who are controlling it, and we knew that. So, you see, let me give you
defaulted in which sense?
Defaulted because it is not doing if you go back into records, you will understand that the Minister of Finance was one time asked, how does your ministry coordinate after the budget speech? How do you coordinate? How do you make sure that the money that is allocated to a particular ministry goes into a particular ministry? And he said, coordination, collaboration. 56 years of our nationhood. 56 years of our independence. Still now, this is what has been happening here. You see, Europe and America, corruption is happening there, but at a minimal scale. How did it? Excuse me,
Mr. Boja, just here. When you talk about e-commerce, setting up electronics in terms of payments and all that, we have at least 50-60% of this country are informal sector in terms of how they do business. The banks will help us here. Probably over 50% of the Gambian people doesn't even have a bank account. So how do you bridge that gap?
So where does the magnitude of corruption happen? Is it at that level where they do not understand e-commerce, or at the level where e-commerce is understood?
I'm not here to answer questions.
You have to answer this one.
No.
So you see, that answers your question. You are targeting people who understand. You institute a system to be able to police a category of people who understand what they are doing. Okay, the people at a certain level, the people at that level will also have a kind of a control.
So let's have your system now. What system are you going to introduce?
That is the system that we are going to introduce.
And what is that system?
That system, we are going to first discourage the use of.
I want you to give me the name of the system that you, as the leader of this country, would introduce in CAF.
That's what he's going to elaborate, I guess.
I have watched this program many times.
Okay.
And one concern that I have here is that if I come here as a political leader, I must be given, even though I'm going to take, if you ask me one question and I'm going to take the whole time to answer that question, allow me, because a listener or a viewer, if I am dumpling from...
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that here.
Okay, mashallah, I have no problem. The atmosphere is conducive and I have no problem with that. But the thing is that we want to make sure that we inject in the use of technology in controlling our financial transaction. The way our institution is built, if you have any lucrative thing and you do not, reform it, it's not going to help you to be able to implement the good ideas and ambitions that we have. The Ministry of Finance, until today, they have this LP system. And the LP system is that you are a vendor, I am the one who is working at the ministry, you supply meat at the police or whatever. At the end of the day, the vote that is allocated is controlled by me at the ministry. And that vote needs to be exhausted at the end of the year. And if that vote is not exhausted, I will make a deal with you so that vote is exhausted. That is the magnitude of corruption that is happening in this country. And until tomorrow, that is happening. Should that continue? 56 years of our nationhood? No, that should not continue. What we are trying to do is to make sure that anybody who is going to work in our financial institutions obeys the regulatory mechanisms that are going to be instituted to make sure that corruption is not something that we encourage.
You made a very serious statement about this vote. Can you give us any specific example where such has happened?
What is that?
The corruption you're talking about the ministries, exhausting the vote.
Do you mean I make allegations?
Yeah, you made a very serious statement where you said perhaps you have some of these ministries.
Have you inquired and it has not been happening like that? No.
You're talking about the
exactly. So when I make this statement, let somebody go there and make investigation.
No, but you should be able to
prove me wrong. No, what I'm telling you,
because Mr. Bojang, you are a political party leader.
I know what I'm telling you. Nobody is going to
just make.
No, let me tell you something. I am going to. This is not a big statement.
Justify.
How do I know this thing? I was in the system.
Okay,
the system that was corrupted.
Now, can you give a specific example where such has happened?
No, this is something that is there.
Are you saying it's common knowledge?
No, it's not common knowledge. I am giving you how maybe you're not privy to this information. Now I'm giving it to you.
Are you suggesting you're giving us a lead to follow?
So exactly.
Okay.
And not only you, and all the viewers and listeners. But the thing is that
if you make any statement like this,
shall I make this statement? Shall I make this statement again and quote me anywhere?
Okay.
That I said that the LP system is what is still instituted. That is what is still in place. A vote is being allocated to ministries. Okay, and that vote needs to be exhausted. And if that vote is not exhausted, arrangements are made to make sure that vote is exhausted, and it is done illegally.
Okay, Mr. Bojang, let's fast track.
Yeah.
You talked about security, and you pride yourself as a retired general. We have seen the launching of the SSR, the security sector reform. Today, what is your perception about the SSR?
It did not work. It did not start simply because I gave an advice.
You said it did not work?
No, is it working?
I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you a question.
Exactly.
I'm not here to answer questions.
No. You're here to answer questions. The thing is this. Sidi,
yes.
Security sector reform, there's no need for that. That wasn't our problem. You see, if you listen carefully what I've just said before, this was what was our problem. The armed forces did not belong to Yahya Jammeh. The Jolas did not compose majority of the armed forces. The men and women in uniform, security men and women in uniform in this country did not belong to Yahya Jammeh. They are loyal people. They belong to this country and they are loyal to this particular government. The thing is this, they missed the leadership for them to play their active role in this particular dispensation.
Leadership in the army or in government? Or in head of state?
Their respective, the leadership in the country. They missed the leadership opportunities in this country for them to play their active role in this particular new dispensation. The SSR is what you've asked. What are our problems in this country? No, we have seen the TRRC. The TRRC came. The security sector reform is supposed to be what? You train your men, give them the equipment, make sure that you define their responsibilities. Has that been done? No. You want to scale down
the attitude, Lamin.
I know that is what you're going to go.
Men came before TRS and said, "We killed Mr. X."
Where are they?
I don't know where they are.
No. You should know those people where they are. Are they not reinstated back into the armed forces? Whose problem is that?
Mr. Bojang, will you
is that the problem of the police or the problem of the army? Is that the problem of the prison? Is that their problem? That is why we said.
So what is your take on TRRC then? The recommendation is coming quite soon.
Yeah.
What is your take on it?
No, see, that is what the opportunity that we missed. I said this thing earlier. I thought you were going to ask me this thing at that time. What we missed, the opportunity. What we missed. We need a leader who is a unifier in this country. That was what we missed. You see, if Adama Barrow could not do anything in this country, but me and Cisse can sit down and talk about UDP, NPP, ANRD, and love, and be sitting together and be doing those kind of things, that alone will credit him to be given another opportunity. But you see, that was what was missing in this country, that unifier. That unifying factor was what I expected was going to come from TRRC.
Were you invited at TRRC?
How can I be invited?
No, this is a question.
No, I cannot be invited.
You were never invited.
I cannot be invited.
No, I'm saying, were you invited?
No, they will not invite me. What business do I have at the TRRC?
Lamin, you're not answering my question.
No, but
were you invited at TRRC?
I was never invited at TRRC, and I will never be invited.
Allow my co-host to continue.
So just your co-host continue.
Quite interesting. As we speak, the voter registration is ongoing, and then I know political parties have huge interest as far as this exercise is concerned. What's your overall take with the process so far? If you can just summarize it, because
exactly, thank you very much. The process we involved, actively. What happened is that we have seen poor voter turnout. We have seen poor arrangements. Typical example is that in Bruford, when the first 2 weeks or the first 3 weeks, we have seen that the community of Brufut had only one registration center the first 3 weeks. You know, voter registration must not be an endurance for one to be able to acquire a voter, a register, or one to be registered. What we saw was it falls short of all expectations. Number 3, we have also seen that the people at the centers, they do not respect this process. They do not, respect the processes. Because the thing is, you have a time bound. You said from this particular moment to this particular moment, this exercise is going to halt. I would expect that anybody who is taking part in that exercise must give that particular exercise the desired attention. But sometimes you go there, at a certain time, the people are not there. And can you imagine, Gambians do go there at 4 a.m. sometimes, where I registered. I went there and they said there are people on the queue who were here since 4 a.m. No, it should not be that laborious duty for us to acquire a voter card. A voter card is my responsibility. You said if I vote, it means I am a Gambian. I'm participating, I'm making my voices heard. But how smooth have you made my voice to be heard? Well, it's a very tedious process.
I know there's a lot to talk about, but I'm afraid I will just end it here because we're running out of time. Well, viewers, with that, we come to the end of this episode of your weekly State of Affairs program here on QTV. I was your host, Aliou Ceesay, with my co-host, Sidi Ceesay, and our guest tonight was Honorable Lamin Sartu Bojang, the leader of the Alliance for National Orientation and Development, ANRD. Mr. Bojang, thank you so much for being on this program, and we hope to have you again because as the election approaches, a lot of development will be happening, and then we hope to have you so we can continue this discussion just to engage more political party leaders. Well, this is State of Affairs, your flagship political program here on QTV. Do join us next week. Until then, bye-bye.